Hi, this is Christine Prasad for Best Buy Canada, and today I'm going to show you the Baby Brezza One-Step Sterilizer Dryer Advanced. So it is designed for baby bottles as well as breast pump parts and other baby gear. You can see in terms of looking at it that it's a fairly large appliance, so you will need some significant counter space to accommodate it, but you don't have to have it in the kitchen. You can have it plugged in wherever it's most convenient for you. So why would you use this? It is for sterilizing, as the name implies, baby bottles, breast pump parts, and other equipment. Now, full disclosure, my son is now 9 years old, so I'm way beyond the days of sterilizing bottles. But way back when I did, I used to put a boiling pot of water on the stove, drop the bottles in, let them sterilize for a few minutes, and then remove them and let them dry on a drying rack. So it was a pretty arduous and time-consuming process, and I will admit there were a few times where I forgot the bottles on the stove and had a little mishap and had to get rid of a couple of bottles that had melted a little bit, and or just had to rush to the kitchen to grab and take them off quickly because they had been boiling a little too long. So a device like this makes a lot of sense for new parents who are busy and feeding a baby, getting up in the middle of the night for those 3 a.m. feeds when you're stumbling around in the kitchen looking for a clean and sterilized bottle. So keep in mind it does not wash the bottles. You do need to wash the bottles first. But inside, so I'll show you, it's a modular setup. So by the way, you can see the reason that I have mason jars and a Tupperware here. These are what I used for my testing because I do not have any of my baby bottles anymore. But they still gave me the idea of how this works. So there's a top accessory tray where you can put any kind of baby breast pump parts that can be sterilized. There is another tray for even smaller parts if you want to separate them, if you've got quite a few things to sterilize. And inside here there are little orange posts, and these posts are what you use to prop the bottles up. So if you have really tall 8-ounce bottles that come up pretty high, you can leave out the middle accessory tray and just go straight to the top one. If you're using small 4-ounce bottles or smaller bottles for younger babies, you might be able to fit the accessory tray, and you can just put the top on like that, or you can add the extra accessory tray again. So there's various ways that you can set it up to make sure that everything is fitting in one cycle. So how does it work? So inside here below is a metal plate. It's designed to resist corrosion, so it will last. You can clean it, or you should clean it rather, with a damp cloth after every use, and you can always run a vinegar water solution in there. Now you do need to use distilled water. In my area at least, it's pretty easily found in any typical grocery store, and it's fairly cheap. You can get a big bottle for $1 or so. So it should be pretty easy to find distilled water to use. You fill it up to the max line. You place the main piece on top, add your bottles and other accessories, add the tray if you like, the other tray, put the top on, and once it's plugged in, to make sure it fits in nicely there, once it's plugged in, you simply press the power button and you can choose your cycle. Now it is, as the name implies, a sterilizer and dryer, so you can do one or the other or both in one turn. So I certainly, when I tried it the first time, I did a cycle that included sterilizing first and then drying second. There are 3 drying settings, so you can do 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 60. I did 60 just to see how well it worked in terms of getting everything bone dry, which it did. So it's pretty easy. You just press once or twice or 3 times just to select your option. You do need to do pretty quick. If you kind of wait or get distracted, it will just reset, so you have to do it really quickly. And then it will begin the heating process. So when it heats up, it sounds like it's boiling water, very similar to the sound of boiling water, because technically it is. And you'll see the steam coming out of the top of the unit. Once it starts, there'll be a countdown timer on the screen, and it is fairly loud. So I actually had to move to a different location to get my work done because it was a bit distracting. I was sitting very close to where it is. So just keep that in mind if you're running it on the same level where you might be trying to watch TV or your baby's sleeping, for example, or you're working from home. So I've got a little video here just so you can hear how it sounds, just to get a good idea. So you can have a listen now to that. So the idea with this is that it kills up to 99.9% of germs using the steam in the heating plate from the bottles, which is the same concept that you'd get from boiling it in a pot of water on the stove. It's just much easier because you pop everything into here. One thing I really do like is that you can keep the bottles in here for up to 24 hours. So it's basically your drying rack and a storage container. So even though it takes up a lot of room on the counter, you don't have to worry about taking up space in your drying rack. A lot of parents get a different separate drying rack just for the baby bottle parts, because you'd be amazed by how many different things are required for baby bottles and breast pumps. Once it's done, as I mentioned, you'll see a second-by-second countdown as it's going, so it's really great if you're in a rush. You can take a peek and see how much time is left to go, and it will beep when it's done 5 times to let you know, at which point you can remove the items. It does come with these handy, cute little pairs of tongs in case you really need to get a bottle in a rush and you can't wait till everything cools down a bit, because as you're using steam and heat, the items are going to be quite hot inside. So as mentioned, I did a couple mason jars and a Tupperware, mini little plastic Tupperware, and they came out perfectly dried and ready to go for canning whatever pasta sauce or whatever I wanted to make, since I don't have any formula or milk right now for a baby. So who would use something like this? The first thing, excuse me, I know, is that you would need quite a bit of counter space to accommodate it. So if you don't have space in the kitchen, but you have space in the basement or somewhere else, but you probably want it easily accessible to you in the kitchen or dining area, so keep that in mind. I think that it's ideal for parents of multiple children, multiple babies I should say, or if you've got a hungry child and you're almost exclusively bottle feeding, whether it's formula or if it is breast milk and you're back at work and you need to pump a lot to keep a steady supply for whoever is caring for the child during the day. If you run a home daycare or for daycares with lots of babies, something like this makes a lot of sense, because you can get a lot of bottles sanitized and ready to go in a short period of time all at once without a lot of manual work. Again, you do need to wash the bottles first, but then you just pop them all in here. And you don't need to keep an eye on anything. The machine will beep and let you know when it's done, and then it'll keep the bottles safely inside until you're ready to get them. So that is pretty much it when it comes to the Baby Brezza One-Step Sterilizer Dryer Advanced. You can read more about my experience trying it out on the Best Buy blog. And thank you so much for watching.